Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S4 4074 Mapman Travels the Globe by Lee Bayer and Arlene Bayer. Chapter 1. The Valley of the Golden Mummies. Why do some mummies last for thousands of years? Hello from Egypt, a country in northern Africa. Egypt is more than twice the size of Texas. That's big, but it's not so big that you won't be able to find me. Check out the map on page 9. I am standing on the west bank or side of the Nile. It's over 4,000 miles long. That makes it the world's longest river. The area I'm in has a name. What is it? Here are two clues. One, historic ruins are all around me. Use the key to find the symbol for ruins. 2. The town of Luxor is to the east. Look at the compass rose to see which way is east. You can check your answer at the end of the chapter. Mapman visits Egypt. He's there to see the ancient ruins and the mummies. Many of ancient Egypt's pharaohs, the pharaohs or kings, were buried near here. But before they were buried, they were turned into mummies. How? When the pharaohs died, their bodies were dried so they wouldn't decay. Then they were wrapped in cloth. Pick under the cloth of a mummy today. You will see hair, skin, and fingernails that are thousands of years old. Creepy. Why did the ancient Egyptians wrap up their pharaohs? They believed that the pharaohs would need their bodies in the afterlife. That's not all. The pharaohs were buried with lots of riches. They wanted to live well in death too. The Nile Valley. Have you caught up to me in the Valley of the Kings yet? I hope so. Because I want to show you around the Nile Valley between Luxor and Cairo. Most of Egypt is a desert, but the land on both sides of the Nile is different. It is called the Nile Valley and is filled with plants and trees. Find it on the map. It's the green shaded area along the river. Water from the river is what makes the Nile Valley green. The river used to overflow every spring. Flood water carried the fresh soil as far as 7 miles from the river. That soil made the land near the Nile perfect for farming. So it's no surprise that 2,500 years ago, most Egyptians lived near the river. Life in the desert could be tough, but a great civilization grew in the valley. Egyptians built cities. They created strong governments, and they figured out how to make dead bodies last for thousands of years. What a donkey found. Now let's head west to the desert. In the 1990s, a donkey punched a hole in the desert floor with its hoof. The donkey's owner looked through the hole and saw a big room. Later, archaeologists checked it out. They found over 100 mummies. Many of them wore gold masks. These mummies weren't pharaohs, but they were rich. They had to be embalmers. The people who turned dead bodies into mummies didn't work for free. Only wealthy people could afford to hire them. The place where these mummies were found is now called the Valley of the Golden Mummies. It's about 200 miles southwest of Cairo. I'm here to map it. Look at page 9 again to find me. Now here's a puzzle. See if you can use the map to figure it out. Mummy is buried in the soil of Nile Valley, decayed thousands of years ago. But the golden mummies are in perfect shape. How can that be? The heads up will give you a clue. Then check your answer below. Heads up. How far is the Nile from the Valley of the Golden Mummies? How does this distance help answer Mapman's question? Nile's waters never reached the Golden Mummies. They stayed dry, and dry mummies rarely decay. This is what a mummy looks like after it's unwrapped. Chapter 2. This African king is wearing traditional dress. Africa's kingdoms. 18 great kingdoms once ruled Africa. Let's visit 3 of them. Welcome back to Africa. In the 1400s, African kings ruled the continent. The map on page 16 shows how it was in the old days. The map on page 18 shows how it is today. Great Zimbabwe. Let's visit Great Zimbabwe in southern Africa. When it was a kingdom, a wall of stone circled its main city. It took 90,000 slabs of stone to build the wall. About 20,000 people lived in and around the city. A king ruled over them all. Look at the map key on page 16 to find the symbol for trade route. Notice that a trade route led into Great Zimbabwe. Traders carried gold and ivory from the kingdom to the Indian Ocean. They returned with bees, cloth, and other goods. But how far was it from the start of the trade route in Great Zimbabwe to the ocean? Use the scale of miles to measure. Then check your answer at the end of the chapter. Unfortunately, the future wasn't bright for the kingdom. Traders stopped coming by. Then around 1450, the people of Great Zimbabwe just walked away from the land. No one knows why they left or where they went. It's still a mystery. Ethiopia. Our next stop is Ethiopia. What direction do we need to go to get there from Great Zimbabwe? Look at the map and see. Ethiopia became a kingdom around the year 200. In 341, King Ezana named Christianity as Ethiopia's official religion, making it the world's first Christian kingdom. Ethiopia survives today, but as a country, not a kingdom, and now many of its people are Muslim. Songhai. Now I am where Songhai, Africa's biggest kingdom. The city I am in is near the Niger River, about 200 miles west of Gayo. Check the map on page 16. Did you find me? I'm in Timbuktu. Many people from Africa and Europe came to Timbuktu to sell their goods. Here you could buy cloth and porcelain from Europe, salt from the Sahara, and gold from Ghana. But nothing lasts forever. In 1591, an army from the north attacked Timbuktu. Songhai kingdom came to an end. Before we go, look at the map of modern Africa on page 18. There used to be 18 kingdoms, but now Africa is divided into 53 countries. How many of these countries can claim part of what was once the Songhai kingdom? Use the key to see where Songhai used to be, then check your answer below. Chapter 3, Secrets of the Great Wall. The Mapman is on his way to China to map the Great Wall. The Great Wall was built to protect China from invaders. It's been around for 2,200 years. Why was it built? Now I am standing in China's capital city. It's in the eastern part of the country. Look at the map on page 22. Use the map symbol for capital to find me. Where am I? You got it. I'm in Beijing. From here, I can see part of the Great Wall of China. Once I mapped the wall from a space shuttle. From space, you can see how squiggly the wall is. It zigs and zags for almost 4,000 miles across northern China. I'm here now to map it again. People compare the wall to a giant dragon. Its head lies near a gulf on China's east coast. Its tail ends in a desert. What are the names of the gulf and the desert? Check the map. Then see if you got the answer right at the end of the chapter. Building the wall. Much of the wall has been around for more than 2,000 years. Back then, China was often invaded from the north. The Chinese rulers had to figure out a way to stop the invaders, so they decided to build a wall. Who are the Chinese trying to keep out? Here's a hint. Which country is on the other side of the Gobi Desert? Now check your answer. The first wall was a series of short walls. Workers filled wooden frames with sticks and stone. Over time, the wooden frames rotted and the walls fell apart. That was good for the northern invaders, but bad for China. Later, China rulers had the wall rebuilt. This time, the separate sections were connected. Stones and bricks were added to strengthen the wall. Much later, workers added platforms, tunnels, and towers. They created one of the largest man-made objects in the world. All that work paid off, but only for a while. About 800 years ago, Mongol invaders climbed over the wall and took over China. The Mongols must have been good climbers. In some places, top of the wall is as high as 50 feet above the ground. Wow. The Mongols ruled China for almost 100 years and they were thrown out. Now here's a problem. End to end, the wall covers about 1,100 miles, but you'd have to go 4 times that length if you walked it. Can you explain why? Check your answer below. The Great Wall of China. What do you know about the Great Wall of China? Here are some unbelievable facts. Great Wall was built over a span of 1,000 years. It was built and rebuilt by different Chinese dynasties or kingdoms. The emperor who started building the wall was a cruel leader. Anyone who didn't follow his orders got in trouble. Their punishment: years of back-breaking work on the Great Wall. It took 10 years to build the first section of the Great Wall. 1 mile was built per day. Later on, towers were added so guards could watch for invaders. If enemy troops were coming, the guards would send out smoke signals. The number of columns of smoke told how many enemy troops were on the way. Today, the Great Wall of China is considered one of the great wonders of the world. Chapter 4, The Amazing Amazon. Why don't bushes grow in the rainforest? There was a long flight. It took me well over 30 hours to fly from China to South America. That's where I am now. I've been exploring the Amazon River from a dugout canoe. Right now, I'm taking a break in a port city. Can you find the city on the map on page 29? It's in the northwest of Brazil, about 400 miles south of the equator. The Negro River joins the Amazon nearby. Meet me there. Oh, and dress lightly. It's really, really hot. The Amazon River runs through the rainforest. The Amazon is one impressive river. It's about 4,000 miles long. In some places, it is 9 miles wide and 300 feet deep. Wow! Can you imagine a river going down 300 feet deep? It sends more water into the ocean than any other river in the world. Have you found Manaus? Manaus? Yeah, it's located right in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. The rainforest is huge. One of every 5 of the world's plants grows here. The forest, trees, and plants produce more than 20% of the world's oxygen. That's the stuff in the air that we need in order to breathe. And it rains a lot here, more than 100 inches a year. That's why it is called rainforest. The rainforest isn't a jungle. Unlike jungle, rainforests don't have many bushes. Look up, rainforest, and you will see why. The big leaves at the tops of the tree form a canopy that blocks out the sun. Bushes don't grow very well without sunlight. Bushes don't like shade, but the creatures of the rainforest do. Macaws and parrots nest in the tree. Monkeys, lizards, and snakes hang out there too. Look up canopy in the glossary. Think about why the top of the rainforest is called a canopy. What other kinds of canopies can you think of? Wow, it's huge. Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia. Wow. Losing the Amazon, the rainforest is home to many animals that live now nowhere else. But settlers are clearing huge areas for farming. Lumber companies are chopping down rare trees. Mining companies are pushing new roads deep into the forest. The result is that 2 acres of the rainforest disappear every second. This means that every year, a chunk of rainforest the size of Hawaii vanishes forever. Lots of people are trying to solve this problem. They don't want to lose the rainforest, but the rainforest is in many countries. It's hard to get them all working together. Which country does the rainforest cover? Check the map. The borders of the countries are in black. The rainforest is in green. Eat or be eaten. A full moon casts its light on a lake. 2 teenagers dive in. Soon the water is churning with blood. A school of piranha fish has struck again. The teens just became a midnight snack. Okay, this didn't really happen. It's a scene from a movie. And experts say it is unfair to the fish. Most piranhas are vegetarian. That means they don't eat other animals, including humans. People who live near the Amazon River often swim with piranhas. It's the red-bellied piranha that give the fish a bad name. They have razor-sharp teeth. They eat other fish, insects, and small animals. Will they eat humans? Yes, but only when the fish are trapped in shallow pools. And they will attack anything that steps into the water. Far more people eat piranha than the other way around. You can order the fish in many Brazilian restaurants. Maybe piranha should Make the horror movies about us. Chapter 5, Exploring Antarctica. It's as dry as a desert with frozen water all around. It sure was hot and wet in the Amazon, but that's all behind us. Now I'm at the bottom of the world. I'm in Antarctica, the windiest, driest, coldest continent on Earth. Here, winter weather can freeze your eyelids open, but Antarctica is considered a desert. That's because it only gets 2 inches of rain a year. Another cold place is the Arctic. It's at the top of the world, but the two are very different. On a map, the Arctic looks like a continent, but it's really just floating ice. There is no land underneath. Antarctica is a real continent. South America is the closest continent to Antarctica. How close are they? Use a scale of miles to find out. Then check your answer. The Ross ice shelf is always changing shape. So Mapman will make a new map of it. How do I know all this? Because I'm sitting about 900 miles from the South Pole. I'm at the McMurdo Ice Station. McMurdo is on an island. The Ross Ice Shelf, a thick sheet of ice, is stuck to the land. Find McMurdo on the map on page 33. Then put on some long underwear and join me. A shelf as big as France. McMurdo is Antarctica's largest community. It has a seaport and even an airport. Many scientists visit McMurdo to study Antarctica. Some of them visit study the Ross ice shelf. The Ross ice shelf is half a mile thick and as big as France. Chunks of it are always breaking off. No, not long ago, a piece as big as Rhode Island fell off. Crack the ice shelves. Shape is always changing. That's why I'm here. The scientists need new maps. Inside the continent, there are no polar bears here. Polar bears don't live in Antarctica. But penguins do. You can only find penguins near the coast. Penguins aren't scary like polar bears. Who could be afraid of an animal that's always dressed for prom night? The only sign of life in the interior is a tiny bug called a midge. Before we turn into ice pops, there's one last problem to solve. When you're standing on the South Pole, which way is north? Which way is south? The end.